Okay, we're just gonna talk about anime. This is the obligatory anime episode. Cool Shirt is here. We canceled Fifth because of that one commenter. You're welcome. Um, and I'm gonna be honest. There's gonna be less direction here, but just take it away, Cool Shirt. Give me something to start us off here when it comes to anime.
So yeah, I like the Attack on Titan ending.
People hate that? Oh, I know people hate that.
Viciously.
Why?
It's the popular opinion amongst anime watchers is that the ending is ass, but I liked it.
I mean,
I get the fact that it's literally just a copy of Code Geass, but worse. But at the same time, it's fitting for the show, in my opinion.
I mean, I know how it ends. I've never watched any Attack on Titan other than the fan dub, like parts of it. But what I do know about that is it seemed like a classic case, and I know I'm guilty of this, of people just wanting some sort of good ending because they like the characters, you know?
Yeah, Mikasa didn't get a happy ending. Now everyone's sad because their waifu's sad.
Didn't she go from like Mikasa to like Man-Casa?
I mean, she was always Man-Casa. She just cut her hair short.
And that is still one of the anime design changes of all time. No, but
she was hotter in season 2 and 3.
You and I have very different takes on anime. You like it a lot more than I do. I don't really care for it. There's certain reasons why I will never fully embrace anime. Coming from someone who I've watched like a lot of cartoons all across the spectrum, from like really kiddie cartoons to...
Yeah, he really likes Hello Kitty. That's his favorite one.
Okay, there's like some old Hello Kitty animation that I actually like. I used to watch it with my sister all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that wasn't gaslighting. That was just a fact.
But I don't go out of my way to watch it. Either way, you and I have completely different takes. I've watched like really like...
Yeah, how about we start off like you giving out your favorite anime?
My favorite anime?
Yeah, let's just spice the market up here a little bit, you know?
Oh, okay. Are we talking like purely animation wise here?
Anime. It came from Japan. I don't care about your Western shit.
My favorite anime, I don't know, it has to be a tie between either Shield Hero or the absolute degeneracy that is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
All right. Yep. Two shows that I started and dropped. Woohoo.
I mean, to be fair, I've dropped both of them too.
I mean, you got more into them than I did. I could not. I just did not like how. Is it wrong to pick up a dungeon, girls in a dungeon or whatever? That shit I hated. Even from like season 1, I did not really enjoy it.
I loved season 1. Season 2 kind of threw me for I wouldn't say for a loop, but it just threw me into like, all right, so we're just gonna speed through a lot of places where we could have developed characters, and then we're gonna spend the majority of this season on rescuing this one character, you know, and then like. Yeah. All of a sudden, we go from...
Well, don't get me wrong, I love shows where it's all about rescuing one character. I mean, one of my favorite animes, like multiple seasons, are all about that. But I just didn't really care for season 2 of Danmachi or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't either. And then somehow season 3 made me even less interested when it was all about racism.
My favorite topic.
I know.
Always handled well.
I mean, it's handled better than like modern live action stuff, to be fair.
in certain cases. I feel like one of my favorite anime like storylines that relates like racism and things like that was Fishman Island arc in One Piece.
Yeah.
I feel like that it does a really good job in the manga. I know they're reanimating it right now in the anime. I haven't been watching the anime to be fair, but I mean, I hope they're doing a good job. I don't really know, so we'll see. But I feel like the story is pretty strong for that. But you gotta have to watch One Piece like pretty far to get to that point.
Well, we'll get to that because I have a very I'll just say interesting, not to give it away to people just yet about One Piece.
He hates One Piece.
Well, yeah, there you go. I do not like One Piece. I think it's overrated.
He's never watched it.
No, I've watched it, but I watched.
How many episodes though?
I watched like 4 episodes into season 1, and then I watched
dog arc. Come on, man.
Hold on. And then I watched it like in the early 2000s when it was running sporadically on 4Kids. And that intro is one of the intros of all time, is what I will say there. But getting a little back to it now, I dropped on Machi at like right after that. Like I haven't seen season 4. I don't remember if there's a season 5 or not. But yeah, I haven't watched it, and it looks like it has like everyone talks about, oh my god, season 4 made it good, and I'm just like, man, I just want more season 1 where it was kind of wholesome. But that's my take on that. I've watched a bunch of other ones. I have a lot of other ones that I like, though I would argue that a lot of the stuff I like I would describe as absolute garbage.
Yeah, I like a lot of garbage animes as well, to be fair. And like, I feel like everybody has to have their like one trash take on anime.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I enjoy that one trashy show. I think one of mine is definitely Domestic Girlfriend. I actually really enjoyed that one, the manga and the fucking anime, but fuck, the ending is disgustingly bad. It's the most ass tier manga / anime that is out there, but it was entertaining though. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I mean, why don't you give us your favorite? Like, give me
my number one is a tie. It's been a tie for the last like.
I mean, my number one was a tie too, so you're good there. Go for it.
My number one is Bleach and Code Geass. Those are my 2 top. I like them both for vastly different reasons, but I mean, Code Geass being a very, very like hardcore kind of like political mecha anime, not like hardcore, but it has political like kind of narrative to it. It's a very like it's an epic is the best way to describe it. Very, very good story. Honestly, I've watched it like 6 times already. I don't think I've not watched Bleach that many times, but I've watched the anime and read the manga about as like a good bit of times. It has its rewatch value. Some of the filler, not so much, but I actually do enjoy some of the filler from Bleach. But a majority of the community is probably like, yeah, I don't like Bleach filler. But I don't know. The animation studio who did Bleach actually put a lot of work into their filler arcs for some weird reason that ended up making them kind of interesting. So, not the Bound arc. Everybody hates that one, but I mean, that one had its some moments, but it was kind of dumb, though, so I do agree with the critique on that one. Code Geass, it's pretty widely loved, so I don't really think that's an unpopular take, but those are my kind of favorites. I also love One Piece. I like Dragon Ball Z. I like Naruto. I don't dislike a lot of those shows, like the big shonen shows. I don't like Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know if that's an unpopular take, but I'm caught up in the manga and not a big fan. My Hero, similar. I don't really like that one as much. I like Black Clover though. Black Clover is very, very good.
Black Clover is pretty good. I mean, I think for this discussion we should probably try to stick specifically to anime because you and I can have a discussion on manga for.
Yeah, my problem is that I was a big anime watcher and now I'm a manga reader. is kind of the issue that I have with like my dichotomy with like I didn't really like the anime for Black Clover because Asta's voice actor like gave me a headache, and so I just went to read the manga, and I really enjoyed the story. That's really just the story of how I got into Black Clover.
Yeah,
and it's a great story and it has really good characters and stuff. It's just, I just could not like enjoy the anime because of like some of the voice acting. And both sub and dub. I'm sure that their voice actors are great, and I'm not trying to like shit on their work. They're probably fine. I just it was personal taste here. That's all.
no, I mean I completely get it, and in the only thing there that you and I have both watched is I've watched season 1 of Bleach. I absolutely love it, and I have watched a little bit of Black Clover. I also like that. But God, man, like I was saying, I don't see the appeal of One Piece. I can respect it, but
it is you only know One Piece by like the very bare bones exposure of like the kind of the surface level shit. It's a lot deeper than the surface level. Promotes like across like its promotional material, things like that. The reason like most One Piece fans don't even really know how to articulate like the appeal of One Piece.
yeah. I mean,
it's kind of one of those shows where you just kind of have to experience it in order to really understand why it's popular and why it's so widely loved.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care for it as much. One, because it doesn't look interesting to me. I'm gonna give that excuse a lot. What does that mean? Is probably gonna be asked. Yeah, it's very vague. But I guess there's. I think the best way to say it is, one, watching anime, for at least from my perspective, is kind of painful, and it has nothing to do with the like sitting down and watching a show, because I will do that. But
why do you find it painful?
Number one, streaming in general. I hate streaming services. And sometimes it feels like if you want to watch certain things, you know, you have to subscribe to all these services. That's number one. And number two, I just don't enjoy certain tropes that anime has. And a lot of them are real big turnoffs for me, if that makes any sense. And
yeah.
And One Piece is kind of that's why I say it's not interesting to me. It's not necessarily a bone I have to pick with One Piece. It's just One Piece kind of falls into kind of like the bag with everything else. Does that make any sense? Like,
could you expand on that a little bit? Because like One Piece, I can't really name another show that's exactly like it.
I'm not a big fan of, and this is going to be wild, or I wouldn't even say wild, but just maybe off-putting to some people. I'm not a fan of the fan service. And by that, I mean when an anime fucking goes and puts a character male.
One Piece is bad.
No. Once again, I don't think One Piece is bad. It's an anime, so I lump it all into the same bag. There are animes that are worse than One Piece when it comes to this, you know?
I mean, like, so you're saying that your main turnoff with certain animes is the fan service. I'm not trying to criticize specifically One Piece. Like, that's like one of your biggest, like, you're just hatred toward it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of unnecessary fan service where you're in the middle of a serious moment, or you just got done with a serious scene and then all of a sudden they throw fan service in. I mean, that's one reason, like, for example, you're talking about filler episodes. I'm not that big. I don't hate filler as much as some people do, you know? Especially if it's done correctly, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Naruto doesn't really do a very good job of it, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion on that specific show. But
so I mean, some shows do it better than others. I mean, one of my favorite non-animes of all time, or like just shows in general, How I Met Your Mother. The because I watched that before I really started watching anime back in like 2016, and going back and rewatching it, like I'm like, oh, that's a filler episode. This is a filler episode, but some of my favorite episodes in that series are just filler, know nothing episodes. You know, they have some, and I mean, good filler somehow ties into the story. You know, it may not be major, but I think really good filler will tie in, you know?
Or even if it doesn't really tie directly into like the bigger plot, it just expands on the characters and their characters in general. I think One Piece and Bleach do a good job with filler overall. There's some filler episodes I really don't like in One Piece, but yeah.
I mean, there's really bad.
It's also a really long show, so I mean, yeah.
There's really bad filler and there's really good filler. I think that just goes to separate greatness and like great shows from just good or average things, and that's the.
I would like to expand a little bit about your fan service thing, because like you could sit here and say you really like fan service shows, but serious shows that have moments of like levity with fan service is something you despise.
Moments of levity when there's a difference. Okay, if you're in like a really serious show, for example,
Give me an example. I'm just curious.
So,
I just want to find to kind of get my brain on the right track.
So here's an example. Let's say it's a real serious show, like it's telling a story of like war or something like that, because that's as serious as it gets in terms of like, you know, cookie cutter style. And
there's deeper topics, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, sewer slides and things like that you can talk about too.
One of the Death Note episodes, you know.
Yeah, things like that. But if it's like a real deep like show, it's like every single episode is, oh, it's someone's dying here, existential crisis here, daddy/mommy issues here, and then you go to like, hey, you know what? Let's just have all of our characters. They just have like a nice little happy moment together. Like, you know, you're walking, you're storming the beaches of Normandy 1 second. It all comes back to World War II.
Do you have any specific culprit that's done this that really pissed you off? Because I understand where you're coming from, but I can't think of any specific show that goes in that direction.
Danmachi is the biggest one. That's one of the reasons why I stopped watching it. Is it went from, at least from my perspective, a wholesome show about like one person really wanting to persevere, get stronger, not for himself but for others. And it went from that to, all right, let's turn this into a waifu collecticon, like where every single character thirsts for the main character, even the male ones, you know, secretly, but they won't admit it. And we're going to shove the female characters like chests in frame every chance they get. I mean, you've seen the female armor versus male armor in like video games and shows and things like that, you know? Yeah. But it's less about giving an example is really hard, because it's less about what it is and it's how it's done, you know? Because a character, regardless of if it's anime, if it's live action, if it's just animation, a character throwing their chest at another character, whether it's female or male, isn't inherently bad. I'm not trying to argue that. But it's all about context, you know? And it's so much easier to remember, like, this is a psychological thing. You remember negatives more than you remember positives, you know? And I feel like, at least for me, maybe this is biased. Hey, maybe people in the comment section that have listened this far in can give me some recommendations or tell me that I'm wrong, you know? But to me, anime is more bad that way than good. and that has just a lot to do with just the culture in where it was popularized and where it's made is very different from, the culture that you and I live in.
I mean,
Is something I
you
chalk
say
it up
this,
to.
but I'd like to challenge you a little bit. Like, could you give me a specific example from a show that's not the dog shit that is, Danmachi? Like about the specific, like with fan service culture and things like that. Like, sure, you could bring up every shitty romance anime, your favorite Monster Musume. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff out
I
there.
can actually, you know what? Going back to an anime that we've already talked about, I can think of an example that this is fan service to me, and this is a good example of fan service that I absolutely love and I use as a good example, and that's Rukia. That one scene of Rukia when she pops out of Ichigo's closet to show her drawings.
That was just kind of comedy. I wouldn't really consider that fan service.
To me, that's fan service. Like, you don't need that in the show, you know?
I mean, you don't, but I mean, it's part of the story.
Yeah, but it's still, to me, at least from what I've watched, that's just like a little bonus into, Rukia as a character, and I think that's adorable. Like, that I can give that example of good fan service, Another bad example, now that I think about it, in a show that I love, Shield Hero, is the freaking slave crest placements are wild in that show. Do you know what those are?
Oh yeah, I do.
I have the discussion of that.
Does this go into discussion about season 2? Because I didn't watch it past episode 1.
No, I'm not talking about season 2. Season 2 is.
We're talking about good old Raphtalia's.
It's not just Raftalia.
All right.
It is not just Raftalia. They almost every single companion character that Naofumi has gets that crest, and they're all chicks. It's.
I mean, Shield Hero is the same like ballpark as Danmachi. It's kind of just a weird harem.
Yeah.
In a different way, but kind of the same at the same time. That's kind of why I lost interest, to be entirely fair.
Yeah.
But I also just after season 1, I was like, all right. I mean, they kind of finished the plot points I really even barely gave a shit about.
Yeah, no. See,
but I mean, but like your distaste for fan service is just anything ecchi. Is that kind of what you're trying to say, or no? I'm trying to get an understanding of what you're.
Anything. I would say anything overtly ecchi for no reason. Does that make any sense? Don't make a character honk their tits for, or, grab their junk or whatever for just the hell of it,
I mean, yeah. That's fair.
And once again, like
I could agree with that, yeah.
I can give you another good, like, another...
I can give you, like, 5 good examples, but I mean, like, there's, like, one I'll bring up from Bleach that you don't really know because you never watched far enough to meet this character.
Not yet. I do plan on finishing it.
There's this one chick named Rengoku or whatever. She's she's got like blonde hair, big ass tits or whatever. And
I know which one you're talking about.
She uses her her feminine charm to manipulate all the male characters in every social scenario possible, and absolutely knows what she's doing. But it's kind of just part of the comedy of the show, though.
That's not fan service, though, because I mean that's.
I mean, it is and it isn't at the same time.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with the Rukia thing in the closet. Like that's not really. I don't consider that fan service. But
no, I don't consider what you just said as fan service because, to me, as someone who, I love like older spy dramas and spy thrillers and things like that. And you always have your attractive female character who uses their looks to get something,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, and I could give that example for like multiple shows, not just Bleach. To be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, there's examples of that in One Piece as well. Like if I'm being real, like there's examples of that in like a lot of different shows.
I mean, there's there's examples of good and bad. You have to just pick, and I guess it does come down to
So it really is that you really just like the ecchi culture part of anime.
yeah. I think at the end of the day, and I think this just goes for everything, would probably be, and I know that you're not supposed to judge things by this, but I do. The culture around it seems to be accepted, like that the real negative side of the culture. I know there are people that don't agree with it, but it at least it seems to me from the interactions that I've had that people are more accepting of a lot of this what I would consider just stuff that I don't agree with, in this community as opposed to other, genres and shows and things like that.
I mean, there's definitely some like etchy shit that even I get uncomfortable with in certain shows. Of course, I think. I mean, I don't really have any specific examples, but like for me, like in a lot of the shows that I watch, it's either done as like parts to either progress like the romance in a plot, or the like just as a comedy moment, like in One Piece specifically. Like I can mention like the ridiculous amount of like uh like stupid simping he does for in just like basically is just like all over the place over any female that he comes in contact with. But I mean, the thing is that when you get to a deeper part of his character, you kind of understand where he's kind of coming from, but like and kind of why he's like that. But like you kind of have to watch the show and understand a little bit more than just the surface level. But sure, yeah,
Who
it
is
sounds
he, by the
stupid.
way? You never gave a character name.
Sanji. I said Sanji from One
I
Piece.
didn't hear you. Sorry.
No, I said yeah, Sanji from One Piece specifically because a lot of people complain about his like moments where he's like does like his like it's just like overly like simps over girls and shit throughout the show. And I mean, when you learn his backstory and everything, you realize why he's kind of like that. It doesn't make it better, but I mean, at the same time, he's a character with a lot of flaws, and most of the characters in One Piece are.
I mean,
And that's
most good
well,
characters in
yeah,
anything are flawed characters. I mean,
yeah, exactly. And the thing is that his flaw is kind of very much on the surface of his character, but that doesn't really take away from the great writing of him. In my opinion, he's my favorite character personally, but a lot of people do disagree with that. I mean, most people are like big simps for like Zoro or Luffy or any of the like other characters throughout the show. Like as far as like strong characters and things of that nature. I also like Frankie. I think Frankie's a fun character that kind of gets slept on throughout the One Piece community.
I'm
He's the cyborg guy, but you don't really know who he is.
I know a majority of the characters that you're talking about from One Piece, but like I said, the show just I don't know. I haven't been interested in watching an anime in a very long time. I have some that I want to watch, but if you mix in what we're talking about now and then just the fact that I refuse to pay for Crunchyroll because I have standards, you know? Um it
That's
just
fair. I'm kind
leads
of in the same boat as you, but I also just don't watch anime right now, so
it
I don't
it's
really have a reason to pay for anime or for Crunchyroll.
I don't know.
I've been watching one anime, but I mean, it's the Solo Leveling adaptation, but I definitely prefer the manhwa.
I let me put it like this. If there was a way that I could, I don't know, maybe get a taste for these shows better than like the trailer, you know? Because trailers I've learned this from
I think
my
a good synopsis would be better than a trailer, to be honest with you, versus seeing like content from the show. I think it's best to actually just like watch it and for itself. If like a good synopsis of a series is better than actually just getting spoiled by stuff from like a trailer or like a fan made trailer or something like that. I don't really like the idea of doing like fan made trailers for a really long series like that. It just spoil a bunch of content for you. Like my opinion on like a show like One Piece is it's kind of a marathon instead of a sprint, like through like to get to like the end parts of the series and things like that. Because like the way I watched it is I watched it like throughout multiple years of a time of just watching arc by arc and then going and watching other shows in between because of how long it is. And you can kind of treat each arc of One Piece as its own like anime. To be honest with you, I mean, some of them are that fucking long.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's
I mean, same can be said with Bleach as well. To be fair, and Naruto and a lot of other shows.
yeah. Funny enough, the length of One Piece is not a negative for me. I actually kind of prefer longer shows as opposed to shorter, like short run shows, because I I don't know, the beginning is always slow, you know, you can give your generic things. Beginning's always slow, and the
I don't know,
ending,
man. Everyone in the One Piece community says that One Piece is slow at the beginning. I have the exact opposite opinion. I feel like the author expressed his writing skills in like the first few chapters, and kind of that's what like the hook of One Piece kind of got. You get like what you get in the early parts of One Piece is what you're going to be getting throughout the rest of the story, but just at a higher scale. Is realistically the way I view what like the early chapters of One Piece and episodes.
yeah.
Now, that's my opinion. I mean, like the first couple big arcs are really well done, and sure, like the animation's dated and whatnot, but that doesn't bother me at all. It never bothered me whenever I was watching it because my first anime I ever watched was Attack on Titan, and that had really good animation for its time, like amazing to be honest. There's still a lot of modern shows today that aren't as good as animation as the first season of Attack on Titan.
You can
That's just kind
tell
of the way things are.
you can tell a lot about a person based on the first anime that they ever watched, because the first anime that I sat down and watched from point A to point B was Konosuba.
The most joking and like fan servicey show out there.
The the way I view that is when I first watched it, I absolutely loved it. But now sitting here, I have only watched season 1. I've watched nothing more than that.
I watched season 2, but I didn't really like season 2 that much. I don't
I
know if that's an unpopular opinion or not,
That's
but
a pretty
I don't.
unpopular opinion.
Well, I don't know. I just didn't really care for it as much. I thought the first season was funnier, and I mean, I kind of just treated it as like a comedy show. I mean, I don't know. Like I've watched a few comedy animes, and there's been some really good ones, to be honest. Like Psyche K is really good. I mean, I consider some parts of Mob Psycho to be kind of funny, but it's not really a comedy. One Punch Man is more of a comedy than Mob Psycho. What's
Dude,
another like
I always
just
forget.
pure...
I always forget that I watched Mob Psycho.
Oh, you watched Mob Psycho? Did you finish it or no?
I've watched all of season 1, and I'm gonna be
You know,
honest.
that's all I've watched. To be honest,
Yeah.
I need to do. I've heard that season 2 and 3 are really good. I need to go finish it because I really liked season 1. Season 1 was really well done, and the author is really good because I really love the story of like One Punch Man as well. But I actually prefer the like overall like story of Mob Psycho, like season 1, over One Punch Man for sure.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know that I watched season 1 of it. It's such like a haze and a fever dream in my head, you know? And
Yeah.
if I were to go and rewatch it, I would have to go and rewatch it from like episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's what I do if I go back to a show after a while anyways. I mean, like I'm not gonna remember like a show like forever. Like that's just kind of how it is, man.
I mean, I remember, like, if it's a show I really love, I remember it. So like I don't remember it perfectly. Once again, going back to How I Met Your Mother, my favorite episodes I can pick out easily, but like after a while of not going and watching them, I kind of forget. It's like, man, I didn't know that this was this early on in the series, or I didn't know that this was so late on, like later in the series, you know?
Yeah. I mean, with really long shows, like the one thing I do really like about One Piece is that I can like distinguish every event based on like the arc it's from, which is quite helpful. Or if it was like pre-time skip or post-time skip or whatever, because there's like a 2-year time skip halfway through the series.
Yeah. I mean,
Which in certain shows that do time skips, like I feel like the one that they did in One Piece is really good. I I also think the one in Naruto is not bad at either. Like the one between Naruto and the Naruto Shippuden, between those two shows. I
Yeah.
know you haven't watched Naruto or interacted with that one, but I liked the time skip. I thought that was really well done. Like in that first couple seasons of Naruto Shippuden, I think that there's some seasons in Shippuden that I didn't like a whole lot, but the overall like main story of Naruto is really good. The filler is the only parts that I really just did not enjoy.
Yeah. Also, I I just thought of something. I've been like just quietly giggling to myself over here. I need to change my favorite. My favorite anime of all time is actually Generation 1 Transformers, the dub version.
I mean, is that considered anime?
I mean,
'Cause
it was
was it made in
animated.
Japan?
Yes, it was animated in Japan.
Oh my!
And funny enough,
No, your favorite's got to be season 4 or 3 or whatever.
oh dear
Of
lord.
G1.
Okay, listen. If we're gonna branch off here, I don't hate season 3.
No one that watches anime is going to know anything about Transformers G1.
You never know. You never know.
We're
but-
just calling ourselves out as boomers over here.
Listen.
It literally aired in the 80s, bro.
Yes, and I didn't watch it when it came out.
Neither
Okay.
did I, obviously. I wasn't born in the 80s.
My run of Transformers was, the Michael Bay stuff that I absolutely hate. But either way, sticking with anime and the great anime that is Transformers G1, I don't hate season 3 as much as like a lot of people do. After watching it, this is
Justice for Ultra Magnus.
Oh dear lord, justice for so many characters. Justice for my boy. Justice for my boy Blaster. All right.
Nah, fuck him.
I love Blaster. Fuck you.
Fuck
That's
Blaster.
one of my favorite anime characters of all time. Just like funny enough, Optimus Prime is considered an anime character because of something I'll bring up here in a minute.
He's in animated works and things of that nature. I mean, anime really just means animation, so.
No, but there's
That's not that outlandish to say, to be fair.
no, because like there is a sequel to G1, like a direct Japanese only sequel of Transformers G1.
Yeah, it's called Generation 2.
No. It's like the Headmaster's show. Like it literally picks up right after, like right where G1 ends and starts right after that. And they get rid of everyone's favorite character. There's no Hot Rod in it.
Wait, nobody liked that character.
That's
What
an
do you want
insult to the character.
about? Yeah, I know.
But like Ultra Magnus is in it.
You're goddamn right he was, because his toy sold well.
That toy is really cool though. Like the original.
Your character's life expectancy in fucking Transformers was based on the toy sales. Changed my mind.
I still want justice for that Autobot shuttle crew. I'm still
That was a long ass time ago, and nothing's ever gonna get changed about.
no,
that shit.
nothing is, but still, and they did my boys dirty, except for Braun. He deserved it.
Bro, justice for Braun.
We don't like Braun out here. No, but I view season 3 as kind of like a spin-off. Like it ends. You got season 1. You got the peak that is season 2. I love the movie. The movie ends it for me. Then you have the spin-off, which is season 3, in my opinion. That's how I view it. It's called. I use a very scientific method called coping. I do this a lot.
Yeah, the copium is real with this one.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's my favorite anime of all time. Redacted. Like, we're going to get rid of the other two that I said earlier. So
No, we're not.
Yeah.
This guy really likes Shield Hero, bro.
I did just actually recently get the most recent volume of the manga. I haven't read it yet, but
How about we get into more like hot takes about anime instead of like just? I was trying to break the ice with the favorite stuff.
all right.
What's your first hot take? Because I gave the Attack on Titan one, but I don't need to go into detail about that. That'll piss off enough people as it is.
You really want my hot take?
Yeah, give me your first hot take.
90% of anime is overrated. I genuinely do not think that outside of maybe one show, because I haven't watched it. I need to watch it to truly form an opinion. All I know really about that show is people die when they are killed. We'll talk about that series here in a minute. Uh, Vegetables are vegetables and they get kidnapped and put in sewers. And the true justice that was never served was, where's justice for that table, man? That
What
table
are you
does
even on about?
Code Geass.
Oh, you're talking about the table scene in Code Geass?
Where's
Wow.
the justice?
I didn't even realize that you were on about that. Damn,
Where's the justice for that poor table? It didn't ask for that. That's all we can say. We can't get any deeper than that.
You have to watch Code Geass in order to get any of this.
Yeah,
Like, literally.
Exactly. But
You haven't even watched it.
no, but I know about the soup store.
Yeah, the soup store is pretty funny.
The soup store is great. No, but to me, 90% of anime is overrated or absolute garbage, and the only reason that a lot of it is popular is because people are too afraid to really bring their opinions forward.
I mean, that's a pretty hot take.
And I can give you some examples if you want me to get more in depth. Would you like some examples to really
Give me an overrated anime.
I think Attack on Titan is one of the most overrated animes of all time. I think it's personally, to me, once again, from like an outside perspective and from what I've seen about discussion of it online, the discussion reminds me a lot of Breaking Bad kind of discussions as well as Game of Thrones discussions, except
it's just as degenerate. Yeah,
except the only difference is Breaking Bad and Attack on Titan actually have good endings.
You said what?
Breaking Bad and Attack on Titan actually have good endings, unlike Game of Thrones.
Well, they have conclusive endings, is what some people would probably argue, but I'm just playing devil advocate with that answer. But I would agree with that. I mean, I've never watched Breaking Bad, so I can't really speak to that show. But well, I take that back. I did watch season 1, but I just never finished the show. But I'm sure that'll probably get grilled in the comments for that one because everyone and the mother is like, "You gotta watch Breaking Bad. It's so good." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right. I just didn't really get hooked in season 1."
Yeah.
I've been spoiled for it online already, so it's like, okay, wow. Like, I pretty much know everything that's going to happen, and I haven't even watched it. I didn't get that treatment with Game of Thrones. I watched that all the way through, and yes, the last 2 seasons are, maybe the last 3 seasons are dog shit.
Yeah.
That's just that's not an unpopular opinion. I'm pretty sure most people would agree with that.
You want me to give you another one of my hot takes? Or
Yeah.
I don't think that the isekai genre is that bad.
Oh no, you're 100% wrong on that one.
No, hear me out.
Have you looked at the vast amount of trash that it produces?
Hear me out. Hear me out.
The amount of Blu-ray DVDs that are going to waste that no one's ever going to watch.
Hear me out, okay? Just
I'm listening. I mean,
okay.
I was just making a comment.
The isekai genre is what's killing anime. I do agree. There's a lot of stuff that honestly should not be in anime. But I think that it is probably the most creative when it comes to some of its ideas. And it does give that, I wouldn't say like escapism, but it the good ones know that it's a show and don't take themselves seriously, you know? A lot of other genres in shows and especially in anime can fall into the trap of taking itself too seriously for a detriment, you know? And sometimes isekai animes do it too, but I don't think the isekai genre is that bad. You've heard 2 of mine, so give me 2 of yours.
2 hot takes about anime. Oh boy. Um, where do I begin? Oh, I've got a lot of hot takes. Trying to think. Start talking about something. Bring up a random show. I'm thinking real
Okay.
quick.
So
I've watched too many shows. That's the problem. I gotta cook real fast.
I've said that we'd talk about this, so it's time to talk about it while he's thinking. But honestly, we got to talk about everyone's favorite light novel turned wallet destroyer turned really, really good animation fight scene series, Fate. Is
You're
good.
bringing up Fate. Yeah, of course it's good.
That's it. Have you
Yeah,
thought
I
of
love
anything yet?
fucking Fate. I thought of a few things.
All right, hit us.
Okay, so number one, Jujutsu Kaisen is not that good. Ugh. Even in the anime, like overall, it's very much like a whole lot of flashiness with not a whole lot of substance. Is the best way I can really describe the author's like entire like direction of the story. It's apparent in season 1, and it continues all the way to the end of the story, and that's why majority. I mean, if any manga readers are in the chat, they know it's a fucking dumpster fire. So I mean, that's I don't know if my hottest take, but I think Jujutsu Kaisen is pretty dog shit overall, even from the start. My other hot take. Demon Slayer in general is ass. Just 100%, just buns.
Oh my god. Two things that I literally know.
I went there. No, I went there. The only thing good about Demon Slayer is that goddamn animation. Changed my mind.
I mean, the intro song's pretty alright.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done.
Okay, continue, please.
7 Deadly Sins was actually not that bad at the start. But I do agree that it fell off hard. I mean, there's some people that say it was never good, but I thought it had potential.
That's how I feel about Fairy Tail.
That show had never had potential. No, Fairy Tail was ass from the beginning. I watched like the first like 30 episodes. That shit was trash. I dropped it. Food Wars is actually a good anime. Just genuinely, unironically great. I love it. I mean, that one's really good. SAO is for fucking weirdos.
Yes.
Yeah.
fucking slay. Holy shit. Where's Fifth when we? Oh yeah, we canceled him. That's right.
One of the best animes of all time is was it My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu?
Oh my god.
Unironically, one of the best animes ever made. Changed my mind. Anyone who's watched it will probably agree. And for all the haters out there, yeah, you can go suck a dick or some shit. I don't really care. Anyone who likes what was it? Tonikawa Over the Moon for You can burn in hell. That shit was ass.
I only like it because you hate it.
Ass. I hate that show with a passion.
I literally like it because you hate it.
Every part of that show, it just brings out hatred into my being.
It makes me smile when we talk about it because I know it angers you.
Yeah, I hate that show. Black Butler season 1 is actually pretty good. It's 100% homosexual in every capacity, but the story's not that bad. I got to give credit where credit's due. I can go on and on, to be honest with you, man. Like I've got so many. I really opened up my anime list and just started looking at shit I've watched, and I was just like, oh yeah, I got a hot take about that one. I mean, I'll finish off with My Hero Academia. I like My Hero Academia, like overall. It's just in the later parts of the show, I really started to hate the series because of the fan base. And realistically, the story quality never really went that south. It was just the fan base that really drove my hatred towards that entire series. But I don't like the ending.
I mean,
for any manga readers, I don't know if the anime is done yet, so I could be wrong on that one. So.
I'm pretty sure the anime is done yet, or is done, not yet. But
okay. Okay, that's good.
I kind of agree with most of those. I actually have a couple that kind of go along with yours.
You don't know about the snafu thing. That wasn't even really a hot take. That's probably a popular take, to be entirely fair. But I don't know if it's like the most popular series because like you don't really you don't know anything about My Teen Romantic Comedy.
No, I don't.
I highly recommend it to anybody who's never heard of it or ever watched any anime in general. It is a very, very good show. It is a high school anime, but it is a very, very good show.
I mean, most of the freaking characters' ages in anime are like high school level. So.
Well, I mean that it takes place in high school. That's what the reason why I've clarified that.
Yeah, I got some more. Are you ready?
All right. I'll let you cook. Go for it.
To continue to round this out. All right. So me personally, I think most anime art styles are samey and boring. As like a lot of character designs are just all the same now, and it's very, very boring. Characters look like characters from other shows, and the anime that have different kinds of art style really stand out. You know, as much as like I do not like Chainsaw Man and think that show is overrated, at least the art is like kind of different, you know?
Oh, it's not kind of different, it just is.
Like that's another thing, like that's one of the things I respect about One Piece is One Piece looks nothing like anything else that's really out there now, and you know, even in the past, and I just respect it for that. The other hot take is the fact that the anime community is the worst and most disgusting community of anything. Like, it's worse than gamers. It's worse than... Actually, then again, I don't know if it's worse than political, like people that make politics their whole thing.
No, it's not.
But it's up there, in my opinion, and it is one of the most off-putting parts of anime in general. And just like everything else online, this is going to be my rounded off here. I think there are more people who say that they like anime without even liking it just to be cool. And there are more people that take advantage of the shows and things like that, make videos on them, make posts about them, things like that. Not because they actually care about the medium, but because they want to be relevant or want to have like something to say in a discussion that they really have no interest in. And I don't want to say that like no one calls him out or anything like that, because that's an issue in my opinion in almost every single like community ever. It's not the worst. I'd argue video games are worse when it comes to that, but that's a topic for another day.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we will probably flesh a lot of these out because this is not the last time we talk about anime culture.
Never.
And I think the best way to round out this episode is just to be very, very simple. To look directly at the viewers and tell them what everyone knows. Their favorite anime is garbage.
You're goddamn right. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is the most manly fucking anime out there.
Yeah. If you like dudes.